Hi, I'm Anne Buist. I'm a forensic psychiatrist who also writes psychological thrillers. I've written 3 in the Natalie King trilogy. I've also co-authored with my husband a feel-good, midlife, finding yourself book. But I'm going to read a brief excerpt out of my latest book, which is a standalone rural thriller set in central New South Wales. I heard it before I saw it. The sound of nature in a hurry. Silent currents driving water through everything in its path, trees and rocks causing small splashes and knocking as the water surged on, taking the debris with it. I risked a quick look back, ash and smoke rising to the sky, the glow lighting up a hazy mist that reminded me that it was still raining and both Tegan and I were soaked. I saw the outline of the 2 men roaming around the house and shivered, grateful it wasn't winter. Tegan cast a worried look down at Indiana, nestled against her. It didn't have to be especially cold to put a 3-week infant at risk. Only 2 kilometres, I thought, ignoring the biggest challenge in front of us. We have to get across, I said to Tegan urgently. One of the men was heading in our direction, swinging a torch in a wide arc. I didn't wait for her to respond. I grabbed a branch that hung over the river and stepped gingerly forwards. Immediately I felt the pressure of the water against me, a stray branch brushing against my leg. A step further and the bottom dropped. I pulled back in alarm, slipping as the mud pulled one shoe off, stepped back panting and only just stifled a scream as the current threw something towards me that looked like a rat. It took the opportunity to run up my arm and onto the overhead tree branch. I caught my breath, watching what was coming at me as I lowered myself again. The cold water was up around my waist. Noah whimpered. Hush, sweetheart, I whispered. I couldn't tell if it was him or me who gasped, but for a second the ground was gone and I was swimming. 1 second only, though the rush of terror at the thought of not being able to keep Noah's head out of water. Then in the next instant, my outstretched arm was around the tree on the other side, debris in the dark, muddy waters pushing relentlessly against my hand. God knows where I found the strength to haul us in. With one pull, we moved to the riverbank. Tegan hadn't waited. She started to cross further downstream than I had. It looked a shorter crossing, but it didn't have the advantage of a second tree well placed if you missed the first. Whether it was because she was not as strong as me, or less cautious, or just unlucky, she slipped and went under. I stifled a scream, then threw myself across the creek, aiming for the tree branch, and caught it. Tegan hadn't let go, and the 2 of us came up together, spitting water. Indiana, to my relief, spluttered and coughed. Let me take her, I said. Tegan stepped back out of the main current, up to her waist in water. Her arms were protectively around her daughter. No way. You can do it, I told her. I'm going to hold on to that tree branch, I pointed. And then all you have to do is grab my hand, okay? I didn't wait for an answer, couldn't afford to give myself time to think. I jumped, grabbing the tree branch on the other side, stabilised, and stepped back as far into the main current as I dared. I was now starting to shiver, whether from shock or cold, I didn't know. But the torchlight, though it had gone well west of where we were, was heading our way. Tegan's time was running out. Now, I urged. She didn't move, looking down instead at Indiana. The water running down her face was tears rather than rain or river water. I can't. Yes, you can, Tegan, I said. Hell, if anyone can, Tegan, you can. Hear me? I'm phobic of water, haven't been even able to bathe, Noah. If I can get across, you can. It didn't resonate. I looked at the torchlight sweeping through the trees. It would pick us out in minutes. I took a gamble on the one thing I actually thought I was good at. I understood what motivated people. With the possible exception of Kate in our group, Tegan was the woman I understood best. I thought about Maggie from Teen Tegan, telling me that she'd been judged all her life. No one in Riley's ever thought you'd amount to anything, Tegan, I said, my voice harsh. I saw her look, a stir of anger. Do you really want to prove them right? And I'm not going to tell you what happens, but I'm a psychiatrist, so my books tend to have uplifting moral aspects and not so much blood on the page. Happy reading.